The phone slipped from her fingers and shattered against the marble floor. Arya froze in the doorway, heart slamming against her ribs, as the man she loved stood beneath a crystal chandelier, speaking rapid Korean into a gold-plated phone while armed men bowed their heads in silence. His voice was calm, cold, commanding, nothing like the gentle mechanic she thought she knew. Outside, black luxury cars lined the mansion driveway like predators waiting for their turn to feed. And in that moment, Arya realized with soul-crushing clarity, she had fallen in love with a lie. If you love intense, emotional stories like this, make sure you subscribe right now to Endless Love Stories, because this one will break you, heal you, and keep you glued till the very end. The man turned. Their eyes met, and everything shattered. Kai, her voice trembled. His face drained of color. The gold phone slipped from his hand as if reality had finally reached him too. Arya, I can explain. But the truth had already spoken for him. She turned and ran. Her shoes echoed across the mansion halls as guards shouted behind her. Her lungs burned as she burst into the night air, tears blinding her as the gates creaked open. She didn't know where she was going. She only knew one thing. The man who fixed her broken car controlled an empire, and her life would never be the same. 3 months earlier, the rain had been unforgiving that night. Arya stood beside her smoking Toyota, shoulders slumped, scrubs soaked through, phone battery at 3%. Of course, she muttered. Of course this happens after a 16-hour shift. The tow truck dropped her off outside a small auto shop in East Oakland just before closing. The sign flickered. Ironclad Auto. The door creaked open. A tall man looked up from under a car hood. Grease-stained hands. Black curls falling into his eyes. Calm, steady gaze. You're cutting it close, he said quietly. Her voice shook. I know. I'm sorry. I can't afford another shop. He studied her face. The exhaustion. The fear. The cracked phone in her hand. Let me take a look. She didn't know that in that moment, her entire life had just shifted. Inside the shop, rain hammered the roof while Kai worked in silence. No rushing. No showboating. Just skill. You work too hard, he said casually. She laughed bitterly. Tell that to my bills. He glanced at her. Nurse. Nursing student. CNA at night. Student by day. He nodded slowly. That's not easy. Something about the way he said it felt different. Like he truly meant it. An hour later, he wiped his hands on a rag. It's just the alternator. I can patch it. Her stomach tightened. How much? He hesitated, then named a price so low she laughed in disbelief. That's charity. No, he said calmly. That's survival. Their eyes met, and something sparked. From that day on, Arya found reasons to return. Oil check. Tire pressure. Strange noise that wasn't really there. And every time, Kai welcomed her without question. He fed stray kids behind the shop, fixed broken bikes for free, slipped cash into homeless hands when no one watched. How does a mechanic stay this kind? She once asked. He smiled faintly. The world isn't kind. Somebody has to be. Their bond deepened on accident. One night, she collapsed. Right there in the shop. Exhaustion won. Kai carried her to the tiny couch in the back, cooked her kimchi fried rice on a hot plate, sat beside her while she slept. When she woke up, embarrassed and shaking, he simply said, You don't have to be strong every second. Her eyes filled with tears. That night, she told him everything. The debt, her parents' death, how she was scared of failing. He listened, and for the first time in years, she felt safe. The first kiss happened in the rain. His hands trembled as he pulled her close. Her lips met his, and neither of them pulled away. But love had walked straight into danger. They just didn't know it yet. One afternoon, 3 men arrived. Black suits, cold eyes. They said nothing to Arya, only to Kai. In Korean. His face changed instantly. His voice lowered. His spine straightened. Tell them I'm not interested, he said tightly. One of the men leaned closer. You don't walk away from blood, Dae-hyun. Arya's heart stuttered. Dae-hyun. The men left. Kai's hands shook for the first time. What was that? She whispered. He forced a smile. Just old problems. But danger had already chosen them. That night, he pulled away from her touch. And she felt it. The distance. The fear. The lie. And 3 weeks later, she followed him. Straight into the mansion. Straight into the truth. And straight into the life she was never supposed to survive. Rain streaked down the windshield as Arya sped through streets she didn't recognize, hands shaking so badly she could barely keep control. Her mind replayed the mansion scene. Again and again. The gold phone. The bowing men. The way Kai's voice had transformed into something sharp and lethal. Daehyun. That name echoed in her skull like a gunshot. Her phone vibrated. Once. Twice. Then again. Kai. She ignored it. At a red light. Her vision blurred with tears. Her chest felt like it was being crushed from the inside. She didn't just lose a boyfriend that night. She lost her reality. Back in her tiny apartment, she locked every door, dragged a chair against it, and collapsed on the floor. The silence was suffocating. Her phone buzzed again. Text message. Ki, please. Let me explain. You deserve the truth. She stared at it for a long time, then typed back with fingers slick with sweat. Arya, meet me somewhere public. One last time. I need answers. 3 dots appeared, then vanished, then appeared again. Ki, Japanese tea garden. Tomorrow. Noon. She hesitated, then replied. Arya, if this is another lie, I'm done forever. The next day, the sun felt wrong. Too calm. Too peaceful. The Japanese tea garden rested like a dream inside Golden Gate Park. Bridges, koi ponds, quiet water broken only by wind and distant footsteps. Arya arrived first. She wore no makeup, no jewelry, just armor made of heartbreak and fear. When he appeared, she almost didn't recognize him. Gone were the grease-stained jeans and work boots. Kai wore a tailored black coat. His posture was different, his eyes sharper, controlled. Not Kai. Daehyun. He stopped a few feet away. I never wanted you to see that life, he said softly. You never wanted me to know who you were, she snapped. Silence stretched. Finally, he spoke. My real name is Park Daehyun. Her fingers curled into fists. My father built one of the largest Korean criminal networks on the West Coast. Smuggling, protection, underground banking. When he died, it became mine. Arya's breath caught. I tried to run, he continued. I bought the auto shop, changed my name, lived small, fixed cars, helped people. I wanted to disappear. She whispered, then why didn't they let you? His jaw tightened. Because blood doesn't let you go. She laughed bitterly. So what was I? A disguise too. His voice broke. You were the only real thing in my life. Her heart split. Then why lie to me? His eyes darkened. Because loving you made you a target. The words hit harder than any slap. So you put my life at risk without letting me choose? Yes, he answered quietly. And I would do it again if it kept you breathing. She stood abruptly. This is insane. I'm not built for this world. I know, he said. That's why I'm ending it now. Her chest seized. What? This is goodbye, Arya. Before someone uses you to destroy me. Tears streamed down her face. You don't get to decide that alone. He stepped closer. If you stay, people will die. Her voice trembled. If I leave, part of me already has. They stood inches apart, pain vibrating between them like live electricity. For a second, she thought he might kiss her. Instead, he turned away and walked out of her life. Or so he thought. That night, the threat started. Unknown number. Text message. Pretty nurse. Nice apartment. Shame if something happened. Arya's blood ran cold. Another message followed. A photo. Her front door. Taken from outside. She dropped the phone. Her hands shook so violently she couldn't even scream. She ran, barefoot into the night. Straight to the hospital. If you're still with me right now, don't forget to subscribe to Endless Love Stories, because everything from this point explodes into chaos, danger, and impossible love. Inside the hospital, Arya hid in the supply closet, knees pulled to her chest, phone pressed to her ear. Kai answered on the first ring. Don't speak, he said immediately. I know. Her breath hitched. They've found me. I'm sending someone. Stay hidden. Don't trust anyone except Dr. Alvarez. How do you? They've already tried to breach my shop. Her stomach dropped. I'm sorry. I never should have. This is not your fault, he said firmly. This is my past refusing to die. Footsteps passed outside the closet. Voices. One man laughed. Check every floor. Arya bit her hand to stop herself from sobbing. Minutes stretched like hours. Then a soft knock. 3 taps. Pause. 2 taps. The signal. Dr. Alvarez opened the door just enough for Arya to slip through. I don't ask questions, the doctor whispered. I just save lives. They snuck through stairwells, storage rooms, and finally out a back exit. A black truck waited. Kai's man. Armed. Silent. And right as they pulled away, Three men burst through the rear hospital doors. They were too late. At the shop, Kai paced like a caged predator. When Arya stumbled inside, shaking and pale, he crossed the room in 2 strides and pulled her into his chest without thinking. For one raw second, neither of them remembered the danger, only the love. Then he pulled back. "You should not be here." She looked up at him through tears. "Neither should my death threats." The shop door slammed open. A black car idled outside. A message delivered without words. Kai turned deadly calm. "They're making their move tonight," he said. Arya swallowed. "Then so will we." In the back office, surrounded by blueprints, maps, and glowing screens, Kai finally told her everything. His father's first wife murdered. His empire stolen piece by piece. The Nakamura syndicate closing in. "They don't want territory," Kai said. "They want control over me. And I'm the leash," Arya whispered. He looked away. She grabbed his face, forcing him to meet her eyes. "I won't be your weakness. I'll be your reason to win." Silence. Then his voice cracked. "You could die." She answered softly. "So could you. But I refuse to die without choosing my path." For the first time, fear wasn't on his face. Respect was. Outside, engines roared. Men loaded weapons. The war had arrived at their doorstep, and love was standing in the crossfire. The first bullet shattered the shop's front window. Glass exploded inward like a storm of ice, and Arya screamed as Kai tackled her to the floor, just as the second shot ripped through the wall where her head had been a second earlier. Gunfire erupted nonstop. Men shouted in Korean and Japanese. Engines roared outside. "They're breaching from the west," one of Kai's men yelled. Kai pulled Arya behind a steel workbench, his body shielding hers. His jaw was set in a way she had never seen before. Cold, lethal, focused. This wasn't the man who fixed cars and bought late-night noodles. This was the king they had woken up. "Stay down," he ordered, sliding a gun into her trembling hands. "If anyone gets past me, aim for center mass and don't hesitate." Her breath hitched. Kai, his eyes locked onto hers. "You're stronger than you think, Arya. I need you alive." More bullets tore through the walls. A grenade rolled across the floor. "Down," someone shouted. The explosion flipped the room into fire and smoke. Arya's ears rang violently as Kai dragged her through the back exit, just as flames swallowed the office behind them. Outside, chaos ruled. Gunmen poured from black SUVs. Kai moved like a shadow, firing with deadly precision, pulling Arya behind him between shots. One of his men fell beside them with a red bloom across his chest. "No, no, no," Arya cried. Kai didn't slow. "Run," he shouted as a second explosion rocked the shop, throwing both of them into the asphalt. A sharp pain ripped through Arya's shoulder. Blood soaked her sleeve. Kai saw it. Something in him snapped. He rose with murder in his eyes. 3 men rushed him. 3 men did not rise again. Sirens wailed in the distance. "The tunnel," Kai barked. "Move." They sprinted through an alley, down rusted stairs, into an underground passage his men had carved as an emergency escape route long before she ever existed. The blast doors slammed shut behind them just as bullets peppered the steel. Darkness swallowed them. Only heavy breathing remained. The Chinatown safe house smelled of incense and gun oil. Arya sat on a mattress as a medic stitched her wounded shoulder. Kai remained a few steps away, hands still shaking from violence. "You're lucky," the medic said. "Another inch and the bone would have shattered." Kai exhaled slowly. When they were alone, silence crashed down between them. Arya broke it first. "They tried to kill me." "Yes." "They killed your men." "Yes." "And this is your life." He didn't answer. She stood slowly, wincing through the pain, and walked straight into his arms. He stiffened in shock. Then his control crumbled. He held her like she would vanish if he let go. If you ever wonder how far love can go, this is your sign to subscribe to Endless Love Stories. Because what Arya does next changes everything. "They won't stop," she whispered against his chest. "Will they?" "No," he admitted. "They will regroup. They will hit harder." She pulled back to look at him. "Then stop running. Become what they fear." He searched her face. "You don't understand what you're asking." "Yes, I do," she said through steady tears. "You tried to be good. They hunted you. So now be powerful. End it." For the first time, Kai saw it. Not fear. Conviction. That night, Park Dae-hyun returned. 3 days later, the underground gathered. Bosses, lieutenants, killers. all packed into a warehouse glowing with red lanterns. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Dae-hyun is back. He brought the nurse? They say she survived an assassination. Kai walked in dressed in black, calm as death itself. Arya walked beside him. Heads bowed. Power shifted. He stepped onto the platform. My father built an empire with fear, Kai said quietly. They think I ran because I was weak. His eyes burned. I ran because I was human. The Nakamura envoy stepped forward, grinning. And now you return because you lost? Kai smiled. No, I returned because you touched what belongs to me. A single gunshot thundered. The envoy collapsed. Panic exploded. By night's end, allegiances were rewritten in blood. Back at the safe house, Arya stood at the window as rain traced silent rivers down the glass. She felt him behind her before he touched her. It's done, he said. She turned. Is it ever done? He hesitated. No. She nodded. Then I'll learn to live with the truth. His voice dropped. You still have a chance to walk away. She stepped into his arms. I walked away once. They followed me with guns. He pressed his forehead against hers. I will marry you one day. But first I must make a world where we can survive. Her breath trembled. Then rule it. Outside, sirens wailed again. But this time, they weren't chasing him. They were too late. Weeks later, the city whispered one name above all others. Dae-hyun. And beside him, the nurse who survived the war. The woman no one could touch. Arya still healed the sick by day. By night, she sat beside the most dangerous man in the syndicate. And she loved him. Not the illusion. The truth. If this story still has your heart racing right now, subscribe to Endless Love Stories, because the next batch takes us into betrayal from inside his own circle and the choice that could cost Arya her life. The betrayal comes from inside the walls Kai trusted most. It happens on a night that feels almost peaceful. Arya is in the private medical wing treating a wounded runner when the lights flicker once. Just once. She barely looks up. Power fluctuations are common in their world. Then the door opens. Not with force. Not with panic. With calm. She turns, expecting one of Kai's guards. Instead, she sees Min-soo, one of Kai's oldest lieutenants. Kai sent me for you, he says gently. There's been a situation. Her chest tightens. Is he hurt? Min-soo steps aside politely. Two men walk in behind him. Something in their eyes is wrong. Cold. Empty. Her instincts scream. She reaches slowly for the panic button under the table. Min-soo sighs. Don't. The gun presses into her ribs before she can blink. The room spins. What are you doing? She whispers. He chose you, Min-soo says quietly. And by choosing you, he ended all of us. The needle hits her neck. Darkness swallows her whole. Kai feels it before he knows it. That sharp twist in his chest. That sudden silence in the compound. He storms into the medical wing 3 minutes later. Blood on the floor. Arya gone. The guards tied and unconscious. Min-soo vanished. For one full second, the world stops breathing. Then every screen in the building lights red. They took her, one of his men whispers. Kai doesn't scream. He doesn't break. He simply says, seal the city. Within minutes, checkpoints flood every border. Cameras reroute. Phones are traced. Streets are locked. Kai sits alone in the war room as footage of Arya being dragged into a van loops over and over. His hands don't shake, but his soul is burning alive. 3 hours later, the call comes. A blurred face appears on the screen. Min-soo, you built your throne too fast, he says calmly. You forgot the men who bled long before she ever existed. Kai's voice is ice. If you touch her, she's already bleeding, Min-soo interrupts. But not dying. Not yet. The screen cuts to Arya tied to a chair in a dark room. Blood streaks from her lip. Her eyes are swollen but defiant. Kai's breath finally cracks. She has nothing to do with this, he says. She's everything to do with this, Min-soo replies. By sunrise, you surrender your position. Kai's eyes turn black. And if I don't? Min-soo leans closer to the camera. She dies screaming. The screen goes dead. Kai hunts. Not like a man. Like a storm. Warehouses burn. Traders disappear. Phones ring in the night and never ring again. Every ally is tested. Every enemy is crushed. But Min-soo is smart. Too smart. He moves her twice before dawn. By the time Kai finds the third location, it's already too late. Arya wakes tied to a metal pole in an abandoned shipyard. Rain cuts into her skin. Min-soo kneels in front of her. You made him weak, he tells her. She lifts her head slowly. No, I made him human. His face twists. That's the same thing. He draws a gun. Her heartbeat roars in her ears. For what it's worth, he says, you changed him. I'll never forgive you for that. The gun cocks. A shot explodes, but it doesn't come from his weapon. Minsu looks down in shock as blood spreads across his chest. He collapses. Behind him, Kai stands in the rain with a smoking gun. Arya screams his name. He runs to her, cutting the ropes with shaking hands, pulling her into his arms as she sobs against his chest. You came, she cries. His voice breaks. I will always come. Gunfire erupts around them. Remaining traitors pour in. Kai shields her with his body, firing one-handed as his men flood the yard. The fight is brutal, short, final. When the last body falls, the rain washes the blood into the sea. Kai holds Arya like he has already lost her once. And in a way, he has. At the hospital, the doctor pulls Kai aside. There's internal bruising, he says. We've stabilized her. Kai nods. She'll live. The doctor hesitates. Yes, but there's something else. Kai stiffens. She's pregnant. The words hit like thunder. His knees nearly give. Pregnant. With his child. Inside her body, life had survived everything. Fear. Violence. Kidnapping. Loss. Kai presses his forehead against the cold hospital wall as something inside him finally shatters open. Not into rage. Into terror. When Arya wakes, Kai is at her side. She sees the change instantly. The raw emotion in his eyes. What is it? She whispers. His hand trembles as he takes hers. There's something inside you, he says softly. Tears gather in her eyes. I know. Pain. He shakes his head. Life. Silence crashes over them. Her breath stutters. A baby. He nods. For a moment, shock steals her voice. Then joy crashes in behind it. Then fear. Then everything at once. Our world, she whispers. I'll end it, he says immediately. She stares at him. You can't. I don't care if it kills me, he replies. Our child will not grow up in blood. If you walk away, she says quietly, they'll hunt you forever. Then I'll destroy every reason they have to exist, he answers. She watches him closely. The gangster, the lover, the father, all colliding in one heart. If your heart is pounding right now, don't forget to subscribe to Endless Love Stories, because what Kai does next will either save his family or destroy the entire empire forever. Kai dissolves the war council. 40 families turn against him overnight. Alliances collapse. Contracts vanish. Targets multiply. He sells ports, shuts down routes, burns old money to build clean power. But you can't erase blood that easily. One family refuses to fall in line. The Yamori Syndicate. They make one demand. The child. The deal is sent with a single photo. Arya's silhouette through a hospital window. If the baby is born, the message reads, the mother dies. The timing is clear. They don't want the child alive. They want Kai broken. For the first time since becoming king, Kai feels powerless. He sits alone in his office at 3:14 a.m., staring at the city. Then his phone buzzes. A message from Arya. She already knows. He rushes to the hospital. She's standing by the window when he arrives. You don't get to choose alone anymore, she tells him. I won't let them touch you, he swears. They already have, she replies softly. Through fear, he sinks to his knees in front of her. I will burn the world for you. She cups his face. Then burn it clean. That night, Kai makes a call that shakes the underworld. He invites every rival syndicate leader to one location. One table, one deal, or one war. No middle ground. The invitation goes out with a warning. Touch my family, and there will be no survivors. The summit is held in a place no one expects. Not a warehouse, not a penthouse, not a fortress. It's held in a half-ruined cultural hall on the edge of the old harbor, a neutral zone from a forgotten era. No syndicate owns it. No street gang controls it. Only ghosts. By nightfall, every major underworld power in the city is moving. Black SUVs, armed escorts, snipers on rooftops pretending not to exist. Kai arrives last. He steps out alone. No visible weapons. Only calm. Inside the hall, a massive round table waits under dim golden lights. One by one, the leaders sit. The Yamori Syndicate, the Taijin Collective, the Northern Dock families, the remnants of Minsu's old faction. Enemies who've tried to kill each other for decades. And now all of them stare at the same man. Kai. He takes his seat. This is not a negotiation, he says calmly. This is a reckoning. Silence. Every finger is already close to a trigger. The child is not part of your world. Kai continues. My partner is not part of your war. Anyone who moves against them dies. Slowly. Publicly. Completely. The Yamori leader chuckles darkly. You built your throne on blood, Han Kai. Now suddenly you want mercy. Kai leans forward. No. I want extinction. That's when the first shot is fired. Not at Kai. At the ceiling. The lights explode. Darkness swallows the hall. Gunfire erupts from all sides. The summit turns into hell in under 3 seconds. Kai rolls behind a fallen pillar as bullets tear through the table. Men scream. Bodies hit the ground. The assassination wasn't meant to start a war. It was meant to end Kai. Smoke floods the room. Through the chaos, Kai spots the Yamori seconds in command pulling a suppressed rifle from under his coat, aiming straight for his head. Kai fires first. The man collapses, but the damage is already done. By the time the shooting stops, 3 syndicate leaders lie dead, and every surviving family believes Kai ordered it. The war doesn't start with a declaration. It starts with retaliation. Across the city, everything ignites at once. Warehouses explode. Transport convoys vanish. Safe houses are raided. Hospitals tighten security. And Arya feels it before anyone tells her. A deep, tight pain curls through her abdomen. She grips the hospital bed as another wave hits. Too early. Too soon. The nurse rushes in. Contractions? Arya nods, breath shaking. Call him. Now. Kai is still bleeding from a shallow gunshot wound when his phone rings. It's the hospital. His world freezes. Her labor has started, the doctor says. We're trying to slow it down, but… Kai drops the phone and runs. The war can burn. Nothing outruns him now. At the hospital, tension coils through every hallway. Armed guards double, then triple. Every window is sealed. Arya is in pain but silent through it. Strong. Too strong. Kai rushes to her side, blood still on his shirt. You're hurt, she whispers. So is the city, he replies, gripping her hand. But I'm here. She smiles weakly. Then I'm not afraid. Another contraction hits. Harder this time. The monitor spikes. And just as Kai leans down to kiss her forehead, the power cuts. Darkness. Emergency alarm scream. The war has followed them to the hospital. Gunfire tears through the West Wing. Kai pulls Arya flat as bullets shatter glass. His security fights back. Hallways flood with smoke and shouting. The Yamori push through the lower floor. A guard yells. They've come for the baby. Not later. Now. Kai lifts Arya into his arms despite her protests. No, Kai, I can't. I will carry you through hell if I have to. The contractions nearly tear a scream from her throat as he runs. Through stairwells. Through burning corridors. Through bodies on the floor. The hospital becomes a battlefield. Kai bursts into the underground ambulance bay where one last armored vehicle waits. The driver yells, "We have maybe 2 minutes." Shots ricochet off concrete as Kai lays Arya inside. He jumps in as the doors slam shut. The vehicle roars forward just as the garage explodes behind them. Fire floods the tunnel. They make it out by inches. Inside the speeding vehicle, Arya suddenly gasps in terror. Kai, I feel pressure. His blood turns to ice. She can't give birth here, he snaps. She doesn't have a choice, the medic shouts. The city blurs past in streaks of fire and sirens. Her body arches in agony. She screams this time. And Kai breaks. Not outwardly. Inwardly. Completely. If you've made it this far, don't forget to subscribe to Endless Love Stories, because what happens in the next few minutes will change everything forever. They don't make it to the safe compound. They don't make it to a hospital. They make it to an abandoned riverside chapel. No lights. No electricity. Only candles left by forgotten worshippers. The medic says the words Kai never wanted to hear. The baby's coming. Now. Gunfire echoes outside in the distance. The war rages on. Inside the chapel, life fights to exist. Arya grips Kai's hand as the contractions tear through her. I'm scared, she whispers. He presses his forehead to hers. I've faced death 1,000 times. Nothing has ever terrified me like losing you. Her strength shatters for one moment. A single tear slips down her cheek. Then she pushes. Again. And again. Outside, engines roar. Yamori scouts flood the district. They are closing in. A scream fills the chapel. Then, Silence. Then, a sound that freezes the world. A baby crying. The medic lifts the infant with shaking hands. It's a girl. Kai falls to his knees. Arya sobs openly now. Life has won, if only for a second. Headlights slam through the chapel windows. Gunfire erupts. The Yamori have found them. Kai pulls a gun with one hand and cradles his daughter with the other. This ends tonight, he whispers. They don't back away. They rush. The first man falls. Then the second. Then 10 more. Kai becomes something beyond human in that moment. Not a king. Not a gangster. A father protecting his child. Reinforcements arrive in waves. The river behind the chapel ignites with burning wreckage. The sky turns red. On the far bridge, Kai sees the Yamori leader step out of his armored SUV. Smiling. Clapping.
You chose war, the man calls. Kai lifts his daughter higher against his chest. No, he says calmly. You chose extinction. A missile streaks across the bridge. The explosion swallows everything. Fire erases the Yamori convoy in one blinding instant. When the smoke clears, the war is over. Dawn breaks over a shattered city. Syndicates collapse. Alliances dissolve. Survivors surrender. By sunrise, Kai stands as the last power left standing. But he doesn't take the throne. He walks away from it. Weeks later, Arya sits in the garden of their new hidden residence. The baby sleeps peacefully in her arms. Kai kneels beside them, planting new soil where burnt earth once lived. You ended the war, Arya says quietly. I ended a world, he replies. Now I'm building another. She smiles. For the first time, there is no fear in it. The city doesn't celebrate the end of the war. It exhales, quietly. No parades, no victory speeches. Just silence settling over streets that had learned to live with fear as background noise. For the first time in decades, the underworld has no king. Because the king walked away, Kai disappears from the public eye completely. No sightings, no rumors, no whispers. The syndicates search for him for weeks, then months. They never find him. What they find instead is something far more terrifying. All his accounts are frozen. All his properties are transferred. All his shell companies dissolve overnight. Every illegal artery of his former empire bleeds out silently. No explosions, no shootouts, no power grabs, just death by paperwork. By the time the remaining factions realize what he's done, the entire criminal infrastructure of the city has collapsed, and Kai never fires another bullet. Arya recovers slowly. The doctors call her survival medically unlikely. Kai calls it proof. Proof that fate didn't steal her from him the night it tried. They don't return to the mansion. They don't return to the city. They build their life somewhere the air doesn't smell like metal and danger. A quiet coastal town none of the syndicates care about. A place where no one knows his name. A place where Arya can walk outside without armed men shadowing her steps. A place where their daughter can grow up hearing waves instead of gunfire. They name her Mira, because she is a miracle. At night, Arya still wakes sometimes. Her hands shake. Her breath stutters. Kai never asks why. He just pulls her closer and waits until the tremors pass. Some wounds don't need questions. They need patience. Months later, the first shadow of the past returns. Not with guns. With a letter. No return address. Only one sentence inside. You can't erase blood with distance. Kai reads it once, then burns it. But the message lingers in the air like smoke. One evening, as the sun sinks into the ocean, Arya finds Kai standing alone at the cliff's edge. You're thinking about them, she says softly. I'm thinking about what survives, he replies. She steps beside him. We did. For a moment, neither of them speaks. Then Kai turns to her. If they come again, he says, I won't run this time. Arya meets his gaze without fear. Then neither will I. If this story is gripping your heart right now, don't forget to subscribe to Endless Love Stories, because stories like this only grow deeper, darker, and more beautiful from here. The attack doesn't come that night, or the next. It comes a year later, on a rainy afternoon that feels completely ordinary. Arya is at the market with Mira. Kai is at home repairing the back fence. The sniper never sees Arya's face. Only a silhouette through the glass. The shot cracks through the air. The window explodes. Mira screams. Arya falls. For one frozen second, the world ends. Then Kai is beside them. Then the blood is gone. The sniper missed by inches. He runs. He doesn't get far. The man is dragged back alive. Young. Terrified. Not a syndicate leader. Not royalty. Just a desperate remnant of the old world trying to earn relevance through blood. He never sees Arya. He never sees the child. He looks only at Kai. You should have finished it, he whispers. You left too many alive. Kai studies him quietly, then lowers his weapon. No, he says. I left enough alive to choose differently. The man doesn't understand. Kai doesn't try to make him. The authorities take him away. This time legally. Irreversibly. That night, Kai doesn't sleep. Neither does Arya. They sit together on the floor beside Myra's crib, watching her breathe. We can't keep pretending the world forgot us, Arya says. I didn't expect it to, Kai replies. I just expected it to tire. She reaches for his hand. Do you still regret not ruling? Kai doesn't hesitate. Every empire becomes a cage. I chose to become a man instead. Years pass. Mira grows. She learns to walk on sand. She laughs at seagulls. She falls asleep to stories instead of sirens. Kai opens a small auto shop again. Not as a cover, as a choice. Arya completes her medical training. She becomes the doctor she once dreamed of becoming. Not in chaos, in peace. People in town only know them as the quiet mechanic, the gentle doctor, the girl who laughs at the ocean. No one knows what they survived. That's exactly how Kai planned it. One night, many years later, Mira asks a question children ask without realizing how dangerous truth can be. Papa, were you a bad man before? The room goes silent. Arya freezes. Kai kneels in front of his daughter. He chooses his words like glass. I was a powerful man, he says. And I used that power the wrong way before I learned what it was for. And what is it for? Kai looks at Arya, then back at Mira. For protecting what matters. She nods, satisfied. Children always know when love is real. As Mira grows older, Kai teaches her how to plant, how to rebuild engines, how to stay gentle in a hard world. Arya teaches her how to heal, how to listen, how to stand when fear tries to buckle the knees. Their daughter grows up balanced between strength and compassion, not shaped by violence, but by survival. On their 20th anniversary, Kai brings Arya back to the ruins of the old chapel. The river runs calm now. No smoke, no sirens, only birds. I thought this place would haunt me forever, Arya says. And now, it feels like a scar that finally stopped hurting. Kai pulls a small box from his coat. Inside is the ring he never got to give her the right way. No gunfire this time, he says. No blood, no running. Arya's hands shake as he slides the ring onto her finger again. For the first time, she whispers, I feel like our love belongs to this world. The ocean roars in the distance. The past stays buried. And somehow, the future remains kind. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for endless love stories. Because the next story will be even deeper, even darker, and even more unforgettable. That night, as Kai stands on the balcony watching the stars, Arya joins him. Do you think the war ever truly ends? She asks. Kai wraps his arms around her. No, he answers. But love teaches us we're not to fight anymore. Behind them, Mira sleeps. Safe. Unmarked. Unclaimed by the world that almost destroyed them. And for the first time since the beginning, nothing is chasing them.